Hello, hello. Happy Thursday. It's good to be here with you to talk about limiting special foods with a new identity. So, um, kind of this is for when you have a food you love, but you don't love how it feels in your body. Still something you would like to eat sometimes, but you don't love how it makes you feel. Or one that you kind of overeat or buffer with, but it's still something you enjoy and would like to have, but you might want to limit it a little bit, limit how often you're eating it because of, that the habit that you use it for overeating or buffering. Okay. So last week we kind of talked about creating a new identity to remove food, and and today we're just going to talk about how to kind of limit a food, because we don't want to go into a place where we're feeling deprivation or restriction because of the food, right? So I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about, what do you do when you're trying to limit a food? What do we typically do? So, some of the things are going cold turkey or limiting it or slowly tapering it off, right? So in asking you guys that, most of you said that you would limit in some way, and a couple said that you go cold turkey. Is that going cold turkey a lot of times will bring us to the point where we feel restricted, and maybe we don't eat that food, but oftentimes we'll then grab other things or other foods to eat, or try in some other way with other foods to be satisfied, to satisfy that restrictive feeling. So we want to make sure that when we're doing something like changing our identity to limit something, that we're not causing ourselves to feel that restriction. And that's why that new identity kind of helps with that, because we're deciding who we are. So we're often fine with what we decide until, if we want to limit something, until we see someone else eating it. And there's like, oh, then our brain goes to work on, oh, that's something I love, something I want. You go back to your thoughts. Or when you think it's the only thing that's available, right? We often will trick ourselves like that because we're feeling restricted. It's like, that's the only thing that will satisfy me. And that is fine, because we're just going to limit it so that it can sometimes be the thing that is satisfying to you. But when you become this person with this identity, if you used it to satisfy yourself the night before, and you've decided your identity is, I'm only going to eat this every couple of days and not every night, then you can say, oh, but I'm just a person who doesn't eat it 2 nights in a row. And then you can decide, am I really actually hungry, or is this just a habit? Okay. So just kind of, thinking about, in terms of restriction and deprivation, what if all foods are available to us? What if all foods are available, right? Everything that's out there is available to you, but you get to choose what is right for your body, what is right for your lifestyle, what is right for how you want to feel when you're eating, and how you want to feel after, how you want your body to feel after, as well as then how you want your body to be able to function after, right? So it is simpler for me to choose an identity instead of only having a limit on a food, because it allows another layer of being able to say, this is who I am, is not someone who eats this, or not someone who eats it this frequently. it allows that second layer so that can kind of remove that restrictive act, because you've chosen, right? You've decided that you are not going to eat it, and you have agreed with yourself why, and you've identified yourself as someone who only eats at certain times. Okay. So also choosing that new identity by removing that restriction kind of tells yourself that you are able to have other solutions, right? So if you actually are hungry right then, when you're choosing to have the new identity and not eat a specific food, then it opens up to the solutions of, oh, what is available that would satisfy me, that is something that my body would like at this time. Okay, so let's kind of go into choosing the new identity and limiting a food. So for example, the one that I've had for quite a while is I'm just a person who only eats donuts if it's a chocolate cake donut with glaze. And when I think about it, I often am thinking about the chocolate one from Krispy Kreme, right? It's like, okay, if there's a donut that kind of looks like that I can heat up in the microwave for like 10 seconds would be better, then that is definitely something that is a time that I'd be like, yeah, I would like to eat a donut. But any other time, because that's not the right donut for me, the one that I really, really enjoy, all others just don't taste as good and don't do the things for my body that I want it to do, right? So, and if I'm going to allow myself to have potential digestive problems from eating something, then it's going to be something I really enjoy and not something that's a poor substitute for it. Okay. So just kind of thinking of that, like just recently, my kids, one of my kids asked for donuts and my husband got donuts, right? And actually in there was a chocolate cake donut, but it had an icing on it and sprinkles. It's like, that's just not quite the same. It's just not the one that I'm wanting. Because it was a chocolate cake donut, I did look at it a couple times, but within a day, by the next morning anyway, the kids had eaten them. So it didn't matter, right? But it wasn't the right one. It wasn't the one that I really wanted. It wasn't the one that I as a person wanted to have an identity as eating. So something, take another example. If you like to eat like mixed nuts and, say you have a protocol and that's on your plan to eat nuts, you can decide that I'm just a person who only eats a fourth a cup of nuts a day. Or maybe it's a handful of nuts a day. Or maybe you decide you can have 2 in a day, or maybe it's just 3 times in a week. But you get to choose what you want based off where you are. Also kind of looking at, like chocolate. Like I'm just a person who only eats 1 square of chocolate a night, right? Some people do that, right? But just thinking of that, where are you, right? If you're eating 15 pieces of chocolate every night, do you want to go and say 1 is going to be enough for me? You can always change your limits to whatever is going to work for you. So for example, if you're eating 15 pieces a night, you might say, oh, initially, I'm just a person who eats 6 pieces a night, or whatever works for you, right? And then you can start to do like one of my mentors, Corinne Crabtree, she would eat ice cream every day, allowed herself to eat ice cream every day. So initially her limit was, initially what she was doing was eating ice cream out of the carton. Okay. And then her limit was, I'm just a person who eats ice cream from a bowl. right? Still eating ice cream every night, but it became from a bowl. And then the next one was I eat ice cream from a bowl and I only eat it, say, 4 days a week, right? Or I only eat half of what I normally put in the bowl, or I use a smaller bowl, right? So a lot of ways that you can allow the limit that you want, and then identify as a person who has that limit. And then it doesn't feel as restrictive because you have made a choice. It's not something the world is pushing on you. It's not something where you're wondering what to do with it, where you're going, this is something I have to do, right? So a lot of times we're like, this is something I have to do. It's not something you have to do. It's something you are choosing because it's something you want, a goal you want to take. So where can you choose in your life to identify as someone who likes the choices you have made? And that is the very exciting part about this, is that choosing. Okay. So let's look at a couple more. Like, I'm a person who only eats one slice of pecan pie over Christmas. Or maybe it's, I have a slice over Thanksgiving and Christmas, right? I mean, you can, whatever limit you want to place on it, you get to choose. And then you get to try it out. You get to walk past something and say, I'm just not a person who eats that during this time. Or I'm not a person who eats any amount larger than this. Or I only eat it a certain number of days. You get to make that choice as to what's going to feel good for you. And just like I told you about one of my mentors, Karen Crabtree, you get to decide how to modify that along the way as to where do you want to go, where do you want to start, and where do you want to go to get to where you want in terms of how you limit certain things. Because like I said, all foods are available to you. You are making a choice, like your decision. Okay, so I just wanted to mention, if you liked any, this whole section, these last two videos are going to be in with the Stop Eating Junk with a new identity course, mini course that I created. I know I'd given you a link. I'll put the link in again. So I'll be taking that down. Friday will be the last day. So probably sometime on Saturday. My daughter has show choir Saturday, so it might be in the middle of the day. Might be a little, Saturday night. It just depends on when I'm back at my computer and able to remove that. But yeah, if you like that, then go and get it, because right now I have it for $27. So go and get it for that reduced price. Because right now it's still available. And then I'll be taking it down, and then I'll put it up for sale, for normal sale, for anyone coming to the website to get it. The normal price will be $97. I'll probably have sales like for $67 or $47, something like that. But this is the last time that you can get that for $27, as well as these two videos from the last 2 weeks will be in there as well. So you can kind of look at it all together with the workbook and kind of go through that process of choosing to limit foods for yourself and choosing to remove foods by creating a new identity. Next week, we're going to talk about taxes. You're excited, right? So just kind of that idea, because I'm, doing taxes right now, of, basically how to do hard things, right? So, I mean, there are some things it's just like we sit here and we don't want to do. So how do we kind of create some thoughts that allow us to choose to go ahead and do those hard things? I mean, because I put off my taxes for quite a while and now I'm doing it. So let's talk about that next time. Like, how do we do hard things? Because a lot of times the things we're doing for our health, we call hard things, right? So we want to see, okay, when we're thinking something is hard, How do we get out of that cycle of this is hard and just start taking action to move towards getting it done and choosing how to then continue to get it done. All right. So let's see. And just understanding that seeing something with talking about taxes, right, can help you to kind of learn how to then implement it with your health. Because sometimes it's very hard to kind of be in the process of, oh yeah, that, I can't do that. But if you could do it in another area, then you can do it in the area that you're struggling with doing it in. Okay. I hope everyone has a beautiful, wonderful day.